As Will Smith once said, welcome to Miami, but what I am seeing is that people are actually leaving Miami.
I'm leaving tonight.
It's no secret that people are leaving the state of Florida for a multitude of different reasons, and so many of them are choosing to live in Georgia instead. I have helped dozens of families move from Florida in the last few years, but recently there's been a large influx of people from South Florida, specifically Miami, who are ready to get out and make a move here to Georgia. So why is that? Hi, I'm Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group, a local real estate agent right here in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area, and I help clients from all over the country relocate right here in Georgia. In the last year, I've helped 5 families from Miami make this move and talk to dozens of others who are ready to do the same. So why are so many people leaving the south of Florida, and why are they choosing the North Metro instead? Every time I talk to someone about making the move from Florida to Georgia, there is one thing that every single person mentions, and that is the cost of living. I recently spoke to someone who was planning on renting for a year to see how her family would adapt to such a large life change before they made a purchase, and they were just shocked at the pricing. She said that the rent payments that they were looking for a 5-bedroom house here were the same as what you would pay for a condo with less than 1,000 square feet, and they just could not get over that price difference, and frankly, neither can I. They were so surprised to see so many homes with large backyards and neighborhoods with amenities and so much square footage compared to their options in Miami. They said it felt like it was just too good to be true, and they had to come check it out for themselves. They say that Miami has gotten outrageously expensive, with housing prices skyrocketing, and the rental market is just as brutal. A decent single-family home in Miami-Dade County can easily cost over $1 million. With that same amount in areas like Swanee, Alpharetta, or Beaufort, it can get you a much bigger house on a larger lot in a top-rated school district. Not only are home prices driving people out of Miami, but so is the soaring cost of property taxes and homeowners insurance. While Miami real estate has always been pricey, the real burden comes after you buy the house in the form of sky-high yearly tax bills and insurance premiums that just keep climbing. When people realize how much they're paying every single year just to keep their home, it's no wonder they're choosing to relocate to places like North Metro Atlanta, where these costs are far more manageable. Property taxes in Miami-Dade County are some of the highest in the state of Florida, and they've been rising fast. The current property tax rate hovers around 2% or more of the home's assessed value, meaning a home valued at $600,000 can come with an annual property tax bill of over $12,000. And for many homeowners, their properties are assessed higher each year, which means their tax bill just keeps increasing and increasing. Now compare that to places like Forsyth County, Gwinnett County, and Cherokee County here in the Metro Atlanta area, and these property tax rates are a lot lower, often around 0.8% to about 1.2% of that assessed value. That same house in the North Metro Atlanta area might only have a property tax bill of $4,800 to $7,200 per year. That's a massive difference in yearly cost, especially if they are 62 or older and are able to qualify for senior tax exemptions here in Georgia. That would slash their property bill even further, oftentimes in half. That's thousands of additional dollars in savings every single year. Now, if property taxes weren't bad enough, homeowners insurance in Miami has become a full-blown crisis. Not only in Miami, but really in Florida in general. Florida's insurance market is in shambles due to hurricanes, fraud, and companies pulling out of the state altogether. Many major insurers have stopped writing new policies in Florida because they're losing too much money, which leaves homeowners with limited options and much higher premiums. The average homeowner's insurance premium in Miami can be anywhere from $6,000 to $12,000 per year, depending upon the home's location and age. And if you're anywhere near the coast or in a flood zone, that cost skyrockets even more. Some homeowners are paying more than $15,000 per year just for insurance, more than what some people pay for their mortgage. Homeowners insurance in Metro Atlanta, on the other hand, is significantly cheaper. In areas like Alpharetta, Swanee, or Cumming, typically homeowners insurance premiums range from $1,500 to $3,500 per year, even for larger homes. Georgia simply doesn't have the same hurricane risk as Florida or natural disaster risk. And while the state does get occasionally some storms and tornadoes, insurance companies aren't dealing with the same catastrophic losses. This makes for a much more stable and affordable insurance market. Getting away from the high risk of bad weather is another big reason so many people are coming to Georgia. South Florida residents are tired of dealing with storm prep every single year. Between the stress of evacuations, the rising cost of insurance premiums, and the constant worry of potential damage, it's exhausting. Compare that to the Northeast Metro Atlanta, where you don't have to worry about boarding up windows or storm surges. Now, sure, Georgia gets its fair share of storms, but nothing like the unpredictability and devastation that comes with Florida's hurricane season. Now, something that might be a little tough for Floridians to get used to is the cold weather that we get here. We certainly don't have very harsh winters, but I think coming from the most southern portion of the US to an area that can get down to the 30s in the winter is definitely going to be an adjustment. Now, if you're someone like me that grew up down south in South Georgia, I love the fact that we have 4 seasons and that I get to wear a sweater when it's cold outside. We had snow flurries a few weeks ago, which was quite a shock to the system, but the good thing about winter here is that this is not something that happens very often. We maybe get a snow day once a year, though this year was the first time in several years that we ended up with a snow day. If you are used to the mid-70s in the months of December and January though, this is definitely going to be an adjustment. I talked with a buyer a few weeks ago and she and her family live in Miami, and she said one of her biggest complaints was that her job was 12 miles away from her home, but on a good day with light traffic, it was an hour and a half commute. Now, y'all, this honestly, it just blew my mind. I cannot fathom having to sit in traffic for so long for a commute that is so short in proximity. She said that there had been so many people moving to their area over the last several years, that there were so many people just so densely packed into such a small area that it was absolutely crushing them and creating impossible amounts of traffic. She said that the congestion, the aggressive driving, the endless construction, it all adds up to major headaches. Now, Atlanta traffic is not perfect, but when you're farther out in the metro Atlanta area suburbs, you aren't going to have this same kind of gridlock. Now, you're going to hear complaints from locals who have lived here their whole lives, and they are not pleased with all the growth and development happening all over, and you will hear them complain about traffic. It's a given. However, when I talk to people from areas like Miami after they have visited the area, they seem to have a completely different assessment, and they still seem to think that we have decades to go in regards to development to even come close to some of the levels of what they experience down there in South Florida. So I would caution you that if you love all the development in South Florida, you might feel like things are a little bit lacking here. But I find that most people are leaving South Florida because they want to get away from that anyway. The last big reason I hear from people who want to get out of South Florida is the overall quality of life. From worrying about natural disasters to the extreme cost of living, there is a lot that makes things tough in South Florida. But I also hear that people want to come to an area where they can get connected to their neighborhood and enjoy life a little bit more. In North Georgia, you're going to find strong local businesses, farmers markets, and festivals where people actually know their neighbors. Schools, churches, and community organizers are super active, and it is a much easier to find a sense of community. And this is what I hear from so many clients that are missing down in South Florida. When I was talking to my client that mentioned how long her commute was, this was something that she was really looking forward to and hoping to find here in North Georgia. She said the politics and culture were getting to be more than what she could handle, and she was ready for a slower pace of life. So when you put all this together, the exodus from South Florida and Miami to the Northeast Metro Atlanta area isn't surprising at all. People are looking for better schools, lower cost of living, more space, a slower pace, and less stress from natural disasters. And Georgia is delivering exactly on that. So I'm curious to know what you think. If you are watching this and you live in South Florida, I would love to know, do you agree or disagree? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And of course, if you're thinking about making a move here to the North Metro Atlanta area, I would love to be your real estate agent. For more information on towns like Cumming, Alpharetta, and Swanee, make sure you check out these videos next.